on? Okay, so good. So we're back into my favorite thing. I'm really enjoying this benching. I know it's taking forever, but it just shows you the depth of the benching, and now it makes a lot of sense to us why the great rabbis in Israel say whenever you need a skula, you need help, you need a hashut, like a hatzlacha or Yeshua, salvation, whatever it is that you need. It says open up your bencher and bench with a bench open up your bencher and bench with a bencher. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yes, it does. All right, because you can see the depth in it, and really, this is the only bracha that comes from the Torah. And you can see like incredible depth on it on behalf of, what we said, where we said Moshe and Yehoshua and David HaMelech and the rabbis of Beitar and all these greats who wrote the benching and put it together. And then now we're on the part of benching that we said is not really the meat and potatoes, it's actually the extra, and that you had already finished benching, right? So you did a mitzvah. Whenever you do a mitzvah, you open up the gates of Shemayim, and now we're really talking to Hashem from our hearts, and it's like an ace ratzon, a good time. So we keep talking about Eliyahu and Navi coming and Eliyahu and Navi bringing good news. And for many people, the concept of Moshiach can sometimes be very frightening. It really can, because we always think about the wars that they talk about that are going to happen before. And whenever you think of the Geula, like whenever you think of the redemption of Egypt, they say that's what it will be again, which it literally feels like, because somebody was telling me, I was talking about how I have to come home, and they were saying, you better be careful because now there's coyotes. And I'm like, what? Okay, like what's going on? I leave Thornhill and now it's got full of coyotes. But like you see these different plagues, like things that are happening in the world that seem so strange and out of sorts, right? And so it can start to make you think, like, when we talk about the ikvas de Mashiach, it's the footsteps of Mashiach, the birth pangs of Mashiach, and we all start going, like it can sound a little frightening, to be honest. So that's why in benching, you're going to say, no, Hashem, you're going to bring Eliyahu Navi, and it's going to be good. So I wanted to do with you today just a little bit, not a lot, but I wanted you to do this concept of when Mashiach comes, there are actually what you're supposed to say, which I think is a beautiful thing. And in our spare time, okay, which I know we could maybe do it, is we should try to memorize those blessings, because that would be a perfect answer to when they say, on the final quiz, you get up to heaven and God says, so did you yearn for Mashiach? You're going to say, boy, did I ever yearn for Mashiach. I memorized all the blessings that you're supposed to say when you see Mashiach. That's how much I yearned for him. That's how much I believed he was going to come. So this is also not only the concept of saying the brachas when you see him, but right here, what I'm showing you is a special prayer, a special Yehi Ratzon. It should be your will. And when do you say these Yehi Ratzons? When it's an Ace Ratzon, right? When it's a time of the gates of heaven being open. And when are those? Usually after you've done a mitzvah. So this actually would be a nice thing for us to do, to keep this in mind, after you gave some charity, to sit down a minute and to add this to our morning blessings. Like, it's not a bad idea to add this through your day. Give a little bit of tzedakah and then say this prayer. So let's just look at it. It's such a beautiful idea. So this prayer is to hasten the final redemption of the Jewish people, nullify the power of the two kingdoms that dominate the world. So if you look, what are the two kingdoms that dominate the world? Like, if you wouldn't be looking at this, would you be able to answer that question? Anybody want to unmute and try without looking? Who do you think are the two kingdoms that dominate the world? Any ideas? Well, okay, we'll look. We'll read it if we can't, if no one's thinking about it, that's okay, we'll read it. And so with the nullify the power of the two kingdoms that dominate the world and the Jewish people, right? When you're dominating the world, you're dominating us. These are the two nations that have kept us in exile, right? So one is the kingdom of Edom, right? The word Edom, what does it mean? Adam, like red, and dam, like blood. okay, which has spilled a lot of Jewish blood, no doubt about it. So who do we say is Edom? We say it's Esav. Esav is the father of Edom. Edom is the Roman Empire is really Edom. It's broken up into a whole bunch of pieces, right? If you look through history, the Roman Empire, Western civilization, it's the Europeans, right? These are the people who have really, we're under their thumb. There's no doubt about it. And they have definitely spilled a lot of Jewish blood, right? The Holocaust, the Crusades, the expulsions, like you name it. And the second kingdom, who's always, been ruling over Israel and over us, is Yishmael. There's no doubt about it. So when you are going to say this prayer and you're asking for Mashiach to come, you're saying, Hashem, let's nullify the power of these two kingdoms. We want Eliyahu and Navi to come and say, Shalom ba'olam, right? Peace has come to the world, and these people are no longer in power. The reality of what will bring peace to the world is Hashem himself, whose name is Shalom. So this prayer was written by the Ramchal, okay? And this is what he said. So you see the Hebrew up here, and here's the English. May it be your will, O Lord, our God, and the God of our forefathers, that you shall receive with goodwill the prayers of your people of Israel, which they have prayed to you in all the generations everywhere in the world. 100% the case all over the world, particularly in the Holy Land of Israel, and in the merit of these prayers. What? You shall tilt the scale of merit to redeem your people of Israel, a complete redemption with kindness and mercy, with miracles and wonders. That would be beautiful. That's what we're saying. Like we're saying, Hashem, it's enough. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Do us a favor. Put your thumb on the scale, okay? Tilt it. It's like so hard for us. How much more can we do? So please, Hashem, we need your help. Tilt the scale for us and bring this redemption. Okay, so we're going to, whoever is unmuted, you have to mute because I get a, what's it called? Okay, I'm going to mute you all. Sorry, just because you get an echo if you don't. Okay, so look at how we're asking for the redemption, the same way that we're asking Eliyahu and Navi to come, right? We're asking to come with besoros tovos, with good news and news that gives us a consolation and news that's a salvation, not news that there's, God forbid, another war and another this and another that. You're saying a complete redemption. How? With kindness, with mercy, with miracles, with wonders. And you shall subjugate under you the kingdom of blood, which means Esav. It's enough, which is the kingdom of Edom, and the kingdom of Talo, which is the kingdom of Yishmael, in the merit of all the true righteous individuals who lived until this day, and in the merit of all the righteous who are with us today, right? I'm so sorry, I'm missing it, with us today, in the merit that we yearn to see your complete redemption. Please, God, send us promptly Eliyahu the prophet, your servant, and the King Messiah, and crown him on the people of Israel and on the whole world. Please, God, do not return our prayer empty, because we put our trust in you. Please answer us and do not delay your response. For your salvation I yearn. May my words and contemplation of my heart be received with goodwill. God, my rock, my redeemer. That's a beautiful thing. Like if we can just find a part in our day, even when you give tzedakah in the morning, just to say this special Yehi Ratzon, like this is a beautiful reality that the Bentching is telling us and that we're telling Hashem. There's a way to bring Mashiach without all the darkness, right? There's a way that we can pray to him and say there's enough darkness, like the scale of darkness has really been completed, right? Now just tip it in merit and in good things. It's really beautiful. I thought it was beautiful. So when we see the Mashiach, we have to recite the following blessings. Do you see them? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good for us to memorize all 6 of these blessings. We're just going to do a quickie little read over here on what these blessings are. So which blessings will we say when the Mashiach comes? And it's a great question. And if you really have faith and belief that he's coming soon, you're really going to want to know these blessings by heart. Okay? So Shlomo Zalman Auerbach of blessed memory, what did he say? He ruled that when Moshiach comes, we will say 4 blessings. There is a first blessing that is said upon seeing an outstanding Torah scholar. So what is it? Blessed are you, the Lord our God, who has granted of his wisdom to those who fear him. So if you look at number 3, okay, you got, everyone can see, you're looking at number 3. I can't, let me know, unmute if there's any problems with seeing, okay? So look, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechalak michachma so lireav. That Hashem gave a portion of his great wisdom to those who are in awe of him, all right? So whoever this Melech Mashiach is, one thing we have to appreciate, he's a human being. It's like a Moshe. We don't believe that, some angel is going to be flying down. It's going to be an incredible human being. And when we're going to see him, this is the bracha that we're going to say. So that's one bracha. There's also a second blessing said upon seeing a king, right? Because he will be anointed. Blessed are you who has granted of his honor to those who fear him. So if you look at number 4, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechalak michvodo lireav, right? That you took a portion of your honor, right? And you gave it to those who are in awe of you. So this in itself is huge. Okay, it's also a very important part for us to realize that there will be this human being who Hashem is going to allow, right? To redeem the world, bring peace to the world, bring an understanding of Hashem, and then Hashem will be the great king over all kings. Just blows my mind. Okay, now this is the third blessing, okay? This blessing is going to be made because when we're all going to go to Israel and we're all going to be together, like you could just see like the whole Kotel Plaza, okay? Like let's everybody just fly over to Israel in our imaginations. Like it's such a beautiful opportunity. Fly over, and what do they say? They compare the land of Israel as compared to like parchment, to deer skin, because it's very, very flexible. And they used to say that in the Mishkan could be, in the temple, in the Beis HaMikdash could be like 1 million people and they could all fit in. It was a miracle. So you could see us, like all of us coming to Israel, everybody going to the Kotel, right? There's a special bracha that you say when you see a gathering of more than 600,000 people. So because it's such an honor to Hashem, it's such an honor to the Jewish people, we're going to have an opportunity to say that blessing. So that's the third blessing, when seeing over 600,000 people gathered in one place at once. The blessing expresses our awe that Hashem, who has created such a multitude of people, all different from another. That's what's so crazy. Like we will be there. You will see like the Hungarian Jew and the Russian Jew and the Ethiopian Jew and the Jew from China and the Jew from Venezuela and the Jew from Brazil and the Jew from South Africa. Like we will be from every end of the corner of the world. Like, could you imagine? And all of us are standing together, right? And understanding the needs of each one. Hashem will understand each and every person there and what he needs, and we will understand this concept of a collective soul. Not only will Hashem understand everyone's individual needs, we will understand how we needed each and every one of us. The blessing is, blessed are you, master of secrets. Presumably when Moshiach comes, the entire Jewish nation will join in one place and we will recite the blessing. So that's number 5 up here. So beautiful. A fourth blessing is the one we make upon experiencing good tidings, good news, joy, or a new event. Blessed are you who has given us life, Ashechianu, and sustained us and allowed us to reach this occasion. So that's number 2 up here. Like, you imagine all of us, imagine if we all say it together. It's going to just like, woo! It's going to blow open the heavens. This will be such an incredible idea. This blessing is said upon eating new fruit, wearing a new garment, or seeing, I thought this was so nice. Did you guys know this? I didn't know this. Upon seeing a close friend that you did not hear from in over 30 days. Isn't that beautiful? certainly our joy upon seeing Mashiach will far surpass the joy and will warrant this blessing. It's going to be a lot greater to see Mashiach than it is to, get a new outfit for Yontif. It's going to be beyond it. It's going to be the destiny of the world. It's unbelievable. Okay, here you go. Rebbe Chaim Palagi mentions yet a fifth blessing. Apparently, we will also recite the blessing of He who redeems Israel. And it's so funny because we say it in our tefillah all the time. Okay, so where is that one? It's Baruch HaGoel, like that Hashem is the one who redeems us. Here it is, right up here. Baruch Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Goel Yisroel. We say it all the time before we say Shmona Esrei. Like that will be so beautiful to be finally be able to say it and see it. Like we know Hashem redeems us all the time in our lives. You're saved from car accidents and saved from tsuris and saved from bad relationships and saved from jobs you shouldn't have. Like all the time, 24/7, Hashem is redeeming us in so many ways. But imagine like that moment where the entire world is redeemed. Like it's beyond. And you'll say that bracha and you'll really say, like, I feel it. The world feels it. We all feel it. You are the ultimate redeemer. There's no more questions if Yashka is the redeemer, or this one's the redeemer, that one's the redeemer. We know who the redeemer is. It's you. It's such a beautiful idea. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're going to thank Hashem for redeeming us from this bitter exile. That's the word. This is patterned after the final blessing of the Haggadah at the end of the narrative portion of the Pesach Seder. We praise you with a new song on our redemption and the release of our souls, and we bless you, He who redeems Israel. Now, upon hearing exceptional good news or enjoying a good wine brought to the table in the middle of the meal, we give thanks to God, our benefactor, for the benefit we enjoy from it. Accordingly, there is an opinion to recite the following sixth blessing. Blessed are you, King of the universe, who is good and does good. Baruch Hatov v'Hameitiv. You see number 6. So let's be generous. Okay, so we're saying that Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach originally said there's only 4 blessings, but we're going to say, you know what, Hashem, we're yearning for this Mashiach so badly. We cannot even imagine a greater pleasure than to finally see the destiny of history completed with you as number 1. So I am going to try my best with my memory, which needs a lot of help, okay, to memorize these 6 brachas. And it's not going to be so hard because the Baruch Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, you already know. It's just having to know the last little bits. And it would be such a nice thing if we tried, like everyone tried, to commit to sit down and really try to memorize these. And then every day you could do it's such a nice idea. You could do this little meditation. You could close your eyes now that we, learned so many beautiful ideas from Moira Kerzner on how to meditate. You can close your eyes and you can meditate as if you're standing at the kotel with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of other Jews, millions, saying these incredible brachas and experiencing this incredible moment in history. So I just wanted to show you this because this is what I wanted to tell you, that when you're benching and you're asking for Eliyahu and Navi to come and to give us this incredible comfort and salvation and good news, this is what you are referring to. So I was so blown away from it. So I'm going to take it off the screen and I'm going to try to be able to see you guys again. So I have no idea how. Anybody know how? Okay, I could do that. Because right now I only see me. I mean, I don't even see me and I don't see this. So anybody can unmute and help me here with how to get my screen to show me. Does anybody know? Oh, stop share. Yes! I am getting better and better. Baruch Hashem. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so let's just go now into the benching. So everybody, now we're moving on in the benching, okay? And we are coming to this idea, and it's very interesting for you to really look. So if anybody does have the bencher here, I'd really love you to open it up because it is important for you to see that there's a lot of different things that you say. So in the NCSY Bencher, we're on page 72. And now we're going to start to go into these concepts, you know, like when you're blessing yourself and you're blessing your parents and you're blessing your children and you're like Harachaman, you're saying, please, the merciful one, right? The only merciful one, the merciful one of merciful ones, you Hashem, have lots of mercy and bless. So who are we blessing? And like if you look right at the top, right, it says these personal blessings are added according to the individual circumstances. So there's different circumstances to which you're going to say these things, right? If your parents are alive or they aren't alive, right? If you're single and you're at home, if you're married and you have a family, you're going to be saying different little pieces, right? And then if you're a guest in someone's house, all right? So there's a whole bunch of different ideas. I want to start right from the beginning. So here, the very first one is Harachaman hu yivarech es ovi mori ba'al habayis hazeh. Okay, so here you are a child. You're not married. You're really not dependent. You don't have your own money. You are really living in your parents' home. That's where you live. And that was like a good majority of our lives. So we had this phenomenal opportunity in Bentching to do an incredible thing, a mitzvah. Which mitzvah? The mitzvah of Kibud Avim. It's a beautiful thing. So you had an opportunity here to do the mitzvah of Kibud Avim and to really show respect and honor and appreciation to your parents by asking Hashem, you know what, I'm eating from their table. Please, Hashem, bless them. So who is the them? So S-A-V Mori. Isn't it interesting? My father, my teacher. Ba'al habayis hazeh. What's Ba'al habayis hazeh? Ba'al habayis hazeh means like the owner of this house, all right? Ba'al habayis, the master of this home, right? The S and who else? Imi, my mother, Morasi, my teacher, Ba'alas habayis hazeh. I guess you call it mistress of the house. Is that the word? Master, mistress? I think so. Okay. Osam, them, ve'es beisam, and their home, ve'es saram, and their children, ve'es kol asher lahem. So the Torah tells you here that you only get two mitzvahs, which is really, really nice. So one mitzvah is the mitzvah of Kibud Avim. The second mitzvah is the mitzvah of recognizing Hashem and blessing Hashem. Because the real master of this house, the real Baal Bayis, the real owner is Hashem. So you have in mind here, when you're saying this, I have in mind that I want my parents to be blessed, and then the parent of all parents, the owner of all homes, Hashem. So what's so nice, and why would we in Bentching refer to our parents as Avi, Mori, my teacher, and my mother as Imi, my mother? Also, what else? She's also my teacher, Morasi, right? So I'm leaving that open to you now. I want you to discuss it. Like, you know, somebody unmute and tell me why you think you call your parents your teacher. Because isn't your teacher your teacher? Like, why are we calling parents our teachers?
They were our first teachers.
Oh, okay, absolutely beautiful. Jody got it right bang on. So it always says, you know, Shema b'ni, listen, my son, Musar avicha, right? The rebuke of your father, v'toras imecha, and the Torah, the instructions of your mother. Also, you should actually really know that in Torah's world, when you say Shema, you know, when you say the Shema, right? What do you say? You actually commit to teaching your children. Like, so, you know, this homeschooling thing that we just went through, originally that's the way Torah expected each and every person to learn. They really didn't expect you to go to public schools. Really, school was in your home. That was really the truth. I'm sure for someone, we should ask Mrs. Hochman, like if she ended up going to school. I can't remember if she talked about ever that. And if she went to school, she probably went to public school for the Polish part, but for the Hebrew part, I think she must have learned at home, right? But that's the way it was. So before the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, the way that people were, they were homeschooled. Okay.
Mrs. Hochman
Yeah.
have a teacher. Her parents were well-to-do.
And her parents had a teacher who came to the house. Okay, that's beautiful.
Melamed.
A Melamed. But I'm saying, generally speaking, before the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, that was the way it was meant. Was that, women would teach their daughters and men would teach their sons, and that's the way the Masorah went. And it says, like when you say Shema, right? You say V'shinantam livanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veisecha v'lechtecha v'derech. You, as a parent, have to teach your child. So listen to the way it says it, though. V'shinantam livanecha, teach it to your children, speak about it. When you sleep, when you get up, when you go for a walk. So what's the real teaching the Torah is telling you to do? What does that mean, teach your child while you're walking, talking, getting up, going to sleep? What does that mean?
Teaching by example.
100%. Perfect. Sarah got it. It's teaching by role model. So the honest to goodness truth is, like, the formative years of a child are really, like they say, by 5 years old, your child's personality is pretty much set. That's what they really say. So, all this, like, I always say, like, what does a mother teach? How to share and not to fight and to take turns and to say thank you and to say please and to be appreciative. Like, do you realize how valuable those lessons are? Those are the foundations, right, of being a mensch. The most important lessons, yeah?
In Romania, it is called, when parents educate their kids properly, that they have given them, the kids, the 7 years of home.
Oh, wow.
Expression, 7 years of home.
7 years of home.
That you make a mensch out of a kid.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so this is what we're saying here. So when you're talking about, being grateful to your parents and you want to bless them, you're saying, Hashem, like, bless my parents, like the wisdom with everything. These are my teachers. These are my role models. Like, if you stop and you think about this, like, it should blow your mind, because I don't know how many other cultures in the world are telling their kid, sit at your table, recognize where your food came from. Yes, it came from Hashem, and that's what we said, that he is the owner of all owners, but there was a shaliach, there was a messenger here who did Hashem's bidding for you, and that was your parents. And that your parents are not just your parents to provide you with things, but your parents are your teachers, and it's important for you to learn from them. And all the more so is it important to teach people today as parents that you are teachers. You're not just bestie buddies, okay? You don't just take your little, 5-year-old to get her nails done with you and you think it's so cute and nice. It's cute and nice, but there's much more to being a parent than that. And if you're looking at why you see what you see today out there, it's because people don't realize that. They don't realize how important this role is. They don't realize how important it is to teach your children to respect you. We don't know how important it is for a parent to teach a child. And how many parents are sitting back and just blaming schools and the system and the teacher and the principal and and they always have like some edge on their shoulder to complain about, but they never stop to look in the mirror and say, like, what did I do as a parent? Where was I as this teacher? Because really, to me, like, you realize these are like principles that are thousands and thousands of years old. And you're living in a modern world. You're living in 2021. Like, could we be, 2020? Could we be in anything bigger and better? The 21st century. And you're watching it crumble before your eyes. Why? Because all these incredible foundational principles are being totally ignored. It's like really something. Think about it, okay? Okay, so now what's very interesting, when you're a young child and you're not living independently, if you take a look, like, you don't say, like, when you look at the second bracha where it says for oneself and one's own family. So you don't give a bracha to yourself. You don't say, Osi, Rachmanu Yivarech, Osi, Sov, Mori, Balbai. You don't do that. When you're a child living in your parents' house, you're really not dependent. You're not independent, you're dependent on them. So you're not asking Hashem, give me money, give me bracha, give me this, give me that. You don't have to, because I am relying on my parents. All right. So that's why you don't see the part of OC. Okay, so now let's look again. So what about, you're married, okay? So let's say you're a married person, right? Now you want to say harachaman. You want to include yourself. The Torah says when you have to give a bracha, it's the same thing when we make challah. You know, we always say that when you're pouring the oil, right? You're blessing each person in your family. And then I always say, so who's the first person you should bless? And what's the answer?
Yourself.
Yes. Okay, so why yourself?
Because if you're not healthy, you can't take care of the family.
100%, 100%. If you like when you're benching, right? You're married already. You have a wife, you have a family, you have this, you have that, right? You have a husband, or you know what I mean? You need to be taking care of you so you can take care of everyone else. These people are depending on you. So it's like, what's it very like? You know, when you're in the airplane and they always talk about like the parent is sitting next to the child and God forbid they need oxygen and the oxygen mask comes down. Who do you put the oxygen mask on first?
Yourself.
Yes, on yourself. It goes on the parent and then it goes on the child. Because if you're, right, then it's not going to be good for that child. Okay? It's not going to be good for anyone. So the Torah always says you have to take care of you first so that you will be able to take care of the others around you. So let's say you're married, okay, and you want to give these brachas, okay? So I'm going to just say it from a man's way and then we'll do it from a lady's way. So it says, you would say like this, Harachaman hu yivorech osi v'es, well, ishti, okay, that would be my wife. Ve'es avi, ve'es avi mori, ve'es imi morosi, okay. Ve'es sari, ve'es kol asher li. That's what you would say. Okay, does everybody get it? So, and if it would be a woman, like let's say it's me benching, right? It's me. Then you would say harachaman hu yivarech Osi, ve'es ba'ali, ve'es avi mori, ve'es imi morosi, right? Then it would be ve'es sari, ve'es kol asher li. Okay, do you see what's going on? Okay, so I want to tell you though that this is a very flexible place. This place, it's a very flexible place, so you can put in a lot of extra bracha here. If you have achi, my brother, chaveri, my friends, like you can add in here. This is where you have that opportunity to expand. All right, so what I found really interesting here, and I've got to tell you the truth, that I always thought that I didn't know there are actually two shitas. What's two shitas means? Two different opinions. So I always thought that once your parents passed on, you don't say harachaman hu yivarech es ovi mori. I don't know what everyone else has been doing, but that's what I thought. So it says here, I just want to quote the two opinions. Okay. I just want to, okay. So the Shlah HaKodesh, right? So he says, once your parents pass on, you don't have to say harachaman hu yivarech es ovi mori. But this is nice that the Darchei Chaim V'Shalom, he says that you should. Do you imagine? He says that the halacha would require you to honor your parents, because there's a halacha to honor your parents, b'chayim and b'maves. You have to honor your parents while they're alive and when they passed on. So what does that mean? So you remember their yurtzites, you do mitzvahs in their merit. So he would say, according to him, you would actually say, you know, harachaman yivarech, bless my parents. It's just interesting. I'm just telling you that. Like I myself never knew it. I always thought that once they passed on, you didn't say anything anymore. But here's an opinion that tells you that you could rely on, right? That you could be saying it.
How about a widow? Does she say for her husband?
I'm wondering like if you also would have to honor, like it's a good, you know, write my husband an email. I'm very curious. I'm serious.
Because when my husband passed away, I stopped saying it. And a month ago, I felt I have to say it again.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So
That's very
saying
interesting.
it again.
Yeah, so it could be that you have someone to rely on, because the point is this idea. I don't know if there's a difference between, you would have to ask. I'll tell you where the difference comes in. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the difference where it comes in. You can never replace your parents. Right? When you have to sit Shiva, you sit Shiva the longest for your parents because they are irreplaceable. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if the halacha of respecting, I'm not sure, like Sarah, I just don't know. I don't know if that halacha of respecting your husband applies after they pass on. I don't know. Your parents, I know you can never, ever replace. And that there is mamish halacha that even in their life and in their death, you have to respect them. So I'm not sure about with the husband, but I really found that very eye-opening, okay?
And then, if God forbid you have a child that's passed on, can you?
I'm wondering, like, these are very good questions. I don't know. The same thing with children. You have to appreciate, it's very sad, but it's the same. Like, you know, the amount of shiva you sit for a child is also not a year, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a different reality. It could be that is a different kind of relationship beyond those, because the other ones, you either have more children or you can have another husband. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure. But for us right now, at least, yeah, sorry.
Do we add alava shalom if they passed on?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know. I'd have to tell you that they did not say that in what I learned. So according to Rabbi Yisrael Meir Weiss, I do not see that you would add Olav Shalom. But I'm being honest that I don't know that many people who do it. This is what's very interesting. You're going to see with benching also, like when we do next week, that bracha of, you know, you see in some sitters, you do make a bracha for the person who, if you're a guest in someone's house, and then in some sitters you don't, and then in some sitters you'll see it in one way, in some sitters you'll see it in another way. I mean, I'm imagining, I will tell you that you probably would say Al V'Shalom. I imagine that you actually would. Because they say whenever you're referring to these people, like whenever you're referring to someone who passed on, it's your opportunity to kind of give them a little bit of a blessing. So when you say Olav Shalom, you're saying, like, you know what I mean? Their neshama should have an aliyah and it should have peace. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. And the truth is,
Zichronam Livracha.
right, Zechron Livracha, all of them, they should be remembered for blessing. All of those things are all respectful ways of remembering someone who's passed on. Okay, so I'm sure either way, you know what I'm saying? It would be fine. But I just found that extremely interesting. Okay, so it's interesting when you're talking about your husband, like it's interesting, like if you look for oneself and one's own family, so you're going to say OC and he's going to say the S Ishti. Ishti is like an Isha and a Ish is a very nice term. It's more like a gentleman and a gentlewoman. It's not just a man and a woman. It's a little bit above, okay? So it's interesting that for the women, they use Ishti, but when it comes to the husband, you say Ba'ali. So it's just because it's been condensed. It's just because they condensed it. It really would be Ishi Ba'ali, but it doesn't pay to say it because at the end, Ba'ali, he is the master of the house. Like he's the master. He's the one who hopefully is the major supporter of the home, okay? So that's the only reason it says Bali. So it's more just a short form. It's not to negate the man, okay? So I just want to make sure I've told you everything I want to tell you. I want to tell you something very beautiful. This concept of a woman being a teacher also, like I think it's very important for us to really look at it, because I think a lot of people think, you know, in Judaism, like the women are, you know, you're there for the cooking and the cleaning and the husband's the one who teaches the Torah. And so you see like so many beautiful ways that Hashem is saying very differently. Like, don't forget the Torah of your mother. I thought that was like beautiful. That says Torah Simecha. It says the Chofetz Chaim used to thank his mother, like even when she passed on, he would say it all the time to everybody. He said, one of the people I'm most grateful to in my whole life is my mother, because she taught me to read the Aleph Beis. Like, you know, if you stop and you think about like teaching the Chofetz Chaim how to read the Aleph Beis, like what that meant, you know what I mean? That's the future of the world. Like, it's not a simple story. Like, we don't realize what we do. And they actually, that the rabbis say that the enthusiasm for Torah really comes from the mother. Like if the mother, you know, when the kids come home in the early years from preschool, you know, they go, look, I got tiktas and I did tzedakah and I was the Shabbos Abba. And the mother goes, wow, that's amazing. You're amazing. That's what really fuels you. Those are your very first impressions. Like those are the first footsteps in the brain, you know, they're making those first patterns, and we can't underestimate who we are. So the Torah tells you a beautiful thing. David HaMelech, his father was Yishai. Yishai was like a great righteous man, great teacher. They say that Yishai had 600,000 students. That's how great he was. But it was funny that when David HaMelech had to refer to being a servant and being connected and learning, he would often refer to his mother. He would often say, I am the son of my mother, instead of saying I'm the son of my father. It's just, a very interesting thing for us to know. And here, when we're saying all these beautiful things about the parents, like when we even say, Harachaman, Yivarech, Esovi, Mori, we have to realize that Hashem is a partner in that whole, what I would call geschäft, in that whole business, right? They say in raising a child, there's three realities, not people, three realities. So the man, the husband, the wife, and Hashem. So all of this gives honor to Hashem. And you have to realize, it's one of the hardest things when you're a teacher, right? And you're trying to teach religious principles, and you say Hashem is the loving father, and he's so amazing, and he's the father, the mother, the parent. And if people have had bad experiences with their own parents, it usually transfers into their religious belief. And it's hard to get over it. It really is. If you, when I say loving parent and you had a loving parent, so that the connotation is yeah. But if you didn't, it can be really, really hard, right? So that's another responsibility that we have to realize as a parent. To a little child, you almost are like God. By the time they're 6 or 7, you're gone. You're no longer God. But until then, you are playing this very big role. So it's important when we're seeing all these harachamans, to understand, right, that we're not only giving a lot of honor to our parents, we're giving honor to the relationship that we have with Hashem as well. Okay? So I thought these were all very beautiful ideas. I just want to see if there was anything else that I wanted to tell you. Okay. Also, I think a nice idea in your own mind is to think about that word, yivarech. Here you are, you're asking Hashem, bless my parents. So I'm going to ask you, what is it that you're thinking about when you say that? What kind of blessing am I thinking about? It's interesting because it doesn't say it. That's what I found very interesting. It's going to go on a little more. The way you blessed Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, bakol mikol kol. That's what we're asking for. Because if you notice, you're saying all these things, but it doesn't seem to say anything direct. It doesn't say, when you're looking at the other parts of Bentching, right? It's bless them with parnasa and hatzlacha and da-da-da and da-da-da, it goes on and on and on, all those parts of Bentching. So here you see, I didn't learn it yet. We'll learn it next week when we get together. But look how it says, bless them like you blessed Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, but call me kol, saying everything. And it's interesting, right? Because when Yaakov meets Esav, that's what he says, yesh li kol, I have everything. So it's very, very interesting. So when we're talking about blessings, what kind of blessings do you think we're talking about? What are the blessings that Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov received? As if you look at their life, they had it good and they had it not so good. But what was the overall blessing that they had, that they were able to travel their journey through life and come out incredibly on top? So what do you think the blessings are?
Could it be that if they had the blessing that they needed?
What blessing? Where would you put their blessings? In which area? Which area of life do you think their blessings were most prominent?
Avram was given the blessing to see chesed. Yitzchak was given the blessing for avodah. Yaakov was giving.
Yeah, beautiful. So what's the greatest blessing that we can have? The greatest blessing. Okay, so we have to move, guys. What's the greatest blessing that we could have is the blessing to reach our potential. What's the greatest blessing that they had? That they came with their days. That's what it is. That they were able to achieve and to grow and to be the person that they were supposed to be, that they took their tools, whatever it was that Hashem gave them, right? Whatever, that natural tendency towards chesed that Abraham had. Great. A lot of people can have a lot of natural tendencies to a lot of good things, but it doesn't mean they actualize their potential. They can go, yeah, the world needs this, but then they never do anything, right? So you're right in that way, Jody. This is the kind of blessings that we're asking for. So in order to actualize your potential, you need a lot of physical blessing, right? If you're not healthy, you can't really do that much. Like, honestly, if you don't have money, you can't necessarily do that much. You can't do the chesed you want to do. You want to have 100 people or 10 people or 2 people at your house, right? You need the money to be able to pay for it and to pay for your shelter and to pay for your food and to pay for this and to pay for that. So that's what's happening here. Like, when we're talking in benching and we're asking for all the blessing, we're asking the blessing so that we can spiritually succeed in being the best that we can be. So we don't ask for blessing outside of, like, in physical terms, in and of itself, right? Because once you're asking Hashem for physical things in and of themselves, then he has to really evaluate, right? The evaluation process becomes much bigger, because then it's like, what are you going to do with the money? Like, do you know what you're going to do with your kids? Do you know what you're going to do with your big house? Like, you haven't qualified, right? You haven't qualified why you want it. So when we say, please Hashem, bless us like you bless the Avos, then we're talking about bless us with achievement and clarity and growth and connection to you like the Avos had. That's like a whole different way of blessing people. And that's what you want, even as a child, for your parents. That's what you want for yourself. That's what you want for your wife. That's what you want for your husband. That's what you want for your children. So I do want to point something out that's very important. So all mother-in-laws have to listen, including me, because I'm a mother-in-law. So here, it's not an easy thing to hear, but you need to hear it. So if you take a look at this, right? So it says, Harachaman hu yivarech. Here's the man. He's giving a bracha. His parents are alive. He, wants to bless them. So he says, Harachamanu yivarech osi. We said, makes sense. You have to bless yourself first, because you can't take care of the world. You can't do what you have to do. So the oxygen mask goes on you first. And then he says, ve'es ishti, my wife. And then he says, ve'es avi mori, ve'es imi morsi. Not so easy to hear sometimes as a parent. Who came first, you or the wife? Someone has to answer. Who came first? When you make that bracha, who comes
The
first?
parents came first.
Wrong. Wife came first.
No, in the bracha, but the parents feel that they were born, they were
yes,
the person.
the parents feel like they wish that they would be the ones being first. But in the bracha, it says that the husband says the wife first, and then the parents. And that's sometimes very hard for us. It's not so easy to understand.
Why? It's not hard.
I hope not.
Once
Get
a boy
married,
marries, he has to go for his wife.
Exactly. And so this is
and
why
we have to understand that.
Exactly.
And
You have to understand it and accept it. 100% perfect. Because here's where it says it. I want to just read where it says it, because that's a very important reality. It's not so easy for some people, because, like, especially right away, like, imagine, like, let's be real, the first years that your kids are married, it's not so simple, because you've put in like 20, 30 years of investment into this kid, and then overnight, whoop, it all changes. And overnight, now it's his wife who has to come first, and it's her husband who has to come first. And it's sometimes hard to swallow, but the Torah tells you that the relationship between a husband and a wife is like isho kegufo. It's as if it's one. That's the whole idea, that the idea is the two halves of the soul are becoming one. So the Torah tells you, like, when a husband gets married, he has to leave his parents and cleave to his wife. And so that's an important reality. It's another page that turns in our lives. And we have to be what's the word? Prepared. Because I remember, like, the first time you make your first couple weddings, you're always like scratching your head going, how come they're going home together? Like, really, my daughter should come back to my house and let him go back to his parents' house. You know what I mean? And then you realize, this is forever. You know what I mean? And it's forever. And that's a good thing. It's the next beautiful Jewish home that has to be built. So very important for all of us. Because look at how we get all confused in the order of priorities. So Hashem is saying, first take care of yourself, then it's your wife, then it's your parents. And isn't it funny that after you've mentioned your parents, I guess it's just out of total respect to your parents, to realize what you owe them. Then you say, bless my own children. Isn't that interesting? This is the order of events. So that would mean if your kids intentionally or unintentionally are chutzpahdik to your parents, then you need to teach your children not to do that. It's not that you would say your children come first and, well, okay, it's just so what? Like, so they said that, so get over it, Ma. It's not the biggest deal. So Torah tells you, no, in terms of priorities, okay, your children need to learn to respect your parents. And the greatest role modeling you can do, like I'm being really honest, if you want your kids to respect you, then you need to respect your parents. And that's the truth, because they will always imitate what they see. I don't know if I told you this story, but I love this story. It just says it all. So it's a story about this it was like a family in Europe, a typical family in Europe. The guy was pretty wealthy, and he used to take care of his father. So the kids grew up in the house, and the Zaidi grew up in the house, and the parents were there. So the parents, they were becoming richer and richer and richer. And as time went on, the Zaidi was becoming more and more feeble. And when he would sit at the table, like he would drool and he would spill his food. He wasn't like, it wasn't pleasant to have him there. So finally, the son became a big macher, and he said to the Zaidi, you know what, you have to leave. Like, I just can't. I can't have you, Dad, at the table. It's just so embarrassing. You have to leave. And he really literally kicked his father out. And the father ended up being a beggar, was begging on the street. And the Einikel, the little grandson, sees the Zaidi. He had no idea what was going on. He sees the Zaidi. And he's crying. He's like, Zaidi, what happened? What happened? The Zaidi says, Nebuch, your Abba doesn't want me in the house anymore, but could you do me a favor, please? Could you bring me a coat? I'm freezing outside here. So the Einikel, the little grandson, he runs up into the house, and he's running up the stairs, and the father says, where are you going? He goes, you won't believe it. I just saw Zaidi. So what's the problem? He said, Zaidi needs a coat. I'm running to get your coat. And he runs up and he gets the coat, and he shows the father. He says, look, Daddy, I'm taking your coat. And he starts ripping it. And the father's like, what are you doing? He said, I'm ripping the coat. So half will go for Zaidi and the other half will go for you when I throw you out. Okay? So this is the idea, okay? The Torah is telling you here some really important priorities for all of us. We get confused, right? We get married. We don't know who comes first, my parents, my husband. Who comes first? My children, my husband. Who comes first? My parents, my children. So the Torah is telling you in the order of the way you are blessing everybody, now you know the order of respect. First comes your wife, your husband, then comes your parents, then comes your kids. It's really beautiful. Okay, so and now, God, I want everyone try. I'm going to send it out. I'll send out the recording, and then I'm also going to send out the Moshiach thing, and let's try. Okay, so even if we keep that Moshiach thing, and when you give tzedakah, you'll keep it next to your tzedakah box. You could say the Hi Ratzon really quickly, but let's try. We'll have like the bracha challenge, and let's see if we could remember those 6 brachas. Okay, like good luck to everybody, but let's make an effort. It's a beautiful thing to do. Like even Hashem should bless us. We should merit to see Mashiach, but even to know that you tried to memorize those 6 brachas. You'll say to Hashem, I waited all my life. I davened, I prayed, I hoped. But let me show you, God, I know those 6, right? Just like how Mrs. Hochman says, I can tell you all 52 parshas, right? It's really something very special. Okay, everybody have a great night. And now is praying time with Sandy Klish, whoever wants to stay online. So Sandy, if you're here, are we going to just do it here? Sandy? Hello?
I'm here, but I'm muted.
Okay, so unmute, and then can we dive in right now with you?
We can do it here. I'm just wondering if anybody's going to call on the other
Do you have
line.
do you have your phone? And then
The only one who calls usually is Helene. I see she's not on here. Oh, she
no,
is.
she is.
Helene's here. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're all pretty much here.
Okay, we're all here. So let's do it now.
Okay, so tell everybody what we're doing, please.
Okay, so we're going to be saying a prayer of thanks in the merit of a speedy and complete refuah shalema for Jody, Chaya Yehudis Gittel bas Miriam Devora, for Charnalea bas Chaya Vela, for Leah bas Sora Devora, for Raya Sarah bas Rivka. Are we still saying for Nasan Svi?
I think so until we get 100% the MRI. So
For Nasan Svi ben Al Tetzero. So
And for Abigail Basrina, do we say? Rebbetzin,
not sure who Abigail Basrin
your
is.
daughter-in-law, the one who had the baby.
No, she's fine. Baruch Hashem.
Okay, so we don't say for her anymore.
No.
I didn't even know. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Okay. So this is for whoever recites this prayer turns severe judgments into mercy and merits outright miracles from Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, King of Kings and Master of the world. Thank you for the infinite times that you helped me, supported me, rescued me, encouraged me, cured me, guarded over me, and made me happy. Thank you for always being with me. Thank you for giving me the strength to observe your commandments, to do your good deeds, and pray. Thank you for all the times you helped me, and I didn't know how to say thank you. Thank you for all the loving kindness you do for me each and every moment. Thank you for every breath that I breathe. Thank you, Hashem, for all the things I do have, and thank you for even the things I don't have. Thank you for my periodic difficulties, my occasional setbacks, and for the times when I don't feel happy, because everything's for my ultimate benefit, even if I don't see that it's always for my best. Deep in my heart, I know that everything that comes from you is the very best for me and designed especially for me in precision and exacting divine providence, of which only the King of Kings is capable. Thank you for the periodic times that are difficult for me, for only that way they enable me to fully appreciate the good times, for only after being in darkness one can appreciate the light. Thank you for the wonderful life you've given me. Thank you for every little thing that I have, for everything comes from you and from no one else. Thank you for always listening to my prayers. Creator of the world, I apologize from the bottom of my heart for all the times that I didn't appreciate what you gave me, and instead of thanking you, I only complained. I am dust and ashes, and you are the entire universe. Please don't ever cast me away.
Amen.
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 We need a
Amen, and
refuas
thank you.
hanefesh and a refuas haguf.
Amen.
Okay, Amen. Thank
Amen.
you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Night.
Gail, I wrote to the rabbi asking him about whether I say.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, thanks so much. Okay. All right.
Good night.
Good night.